Hello everyone, welcome to my September 2021 monthly beauty favorites and fails. My family and I were talking at dinner last night about how when you go into stores now, you can already find Christmas decorations. Yes, Christmas will be here before we know it, but let's not overlook Halloween, Thanksgiving. I just don't know how we got here, where summer ends and then all of a sudden Christmas decorations pop up. Anyway, it is the end of September, which means it's time for me to share with you the products that I have loved during the past month and some products that did not work out so well for me. Those are my fails, and I have more than ever this month, unfortunately. But before I get into showing you those favorites and fails, I do have a sponsor for today's video. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. For those of you that might not know what Skillshare is, it is an online learning platform with over 30,000 classes that you can take no matter what your interests are. Whether you're a hobbyist or a pro in cooking or gardening or photography, you can become a Skillshare member and access classes, including live classes. You can interact with other people with the same interests. I have finally, since becoming a Skillshare member, learned the ins and outs of my DSLR camera. And most recently, I took a class called Style Your Space: Creative Tips and Techniques for Interior Design. In the past 2 years, I have remodeled my kitchen, my bathroom, and last winter we remodeled our living room and our bar area. And I did use an interior designer at the time, and honestly, that did not go well. So I thought this would be a great class for me to take to learn how to style a space myself, and I learned so much. Something else that's really great about these classes is that there are no ads, so you can really stay focused on what you're learning. So if you're interested in trying Skillshare, they have kindly offered the first 1,000 subscribers of mine who click the link down below in the description box a free 1-month trial so you can start exploring your creativity today. All right, now let's get into those favorites and all of those fails. As usual, I'm going to start with what I currently have on my face, beginning with the eyeshadow palette. This eyeshadow palette is not new. In fact, I think it's several years old. And once in a while, I do like to include rediscoveries in my monthly favorites videos because I understand that some of you, if not most of you, are not running out every week to Sephora or Ulta and purchasing the latest new makeup release like those of us that are YouTubers are. So I like to show products that a lot of you may already own in your stash that I still think are fantastic. And this is the Too Faced Sweet Peach eyeshadow palette. This is one of my favorite Too Faced palettes of all time. The shade Luscious right here is probably my favorite shimmer in any palette that I own. And that's saying a lot because I own a lot of eyeshadow palettes and a lot of them, well, most of them contain shimmers. So I love everything about this palette. I love the color story. The only thing that I wish was in this palette was a deeper neutral brown. But other than that, I think it's perfection. And believe it or not, it still has a very faint peach smell to it. I know a lot of you are probably gonna ask me, Risa, are you sure that this palette is still good to use after so many years? And I've been in the makeup industry for 25 years now, and powder products are pretty safe. I'm not saying you want to keep an eyeshadow palette for 10, 15 years, but 5 years, heck, even 7 years, you're probably okay as long as you're storing it in a cool, dry location, you're not sharing it with other people. Powder products can last a really, really long time. So if you too have this palette and haven't used it in quite a while, I do recommend bringing it out, using it again. I think you will fall in love with it once more, just like I did. My next favorite is the new brow pomade from Benefit. I knew after the first day of using this pomade that it was likely going to make my favorites. I really like the formula of this. If you do want to see me apply it, I will link that testing hot new makeup video down below in the description box. I also test out in that video the foundation fail that I have. And is there anything else from that video in here? I don't think so. But the pomade is a winner. I love the color. I'm using shade 3. It's creamy, it's long wearing. I think I said in that video, actually I know I said in that trying hot new makeup video, that I believe this is replacing the other brow product, which once again, I cannot think of the name of. Ka-Brow, that's what it was called. And it looked like this, and it had a brush on the top, but it always bothered me that the component was so small. And I did find that it dried very, very quickly. So I love that they just put this in a traditional pot. They've also added a little lip here on the side that you can wipe off your brush. I do find that it lasts all day, especially if you top it with the 24-hour brow setter, also from Benefit. And if you like a brow pomade, this one is a winner. Another favorite for my brows was a recommendation from my viewers. This is the Essence Make Me Brow Tinted Brow Gel. I have been raving about the Ulta brow tint for a couple of months now. I still really, really love it. And so many of you asked me to try or told me to try the Essence brow tint. It's even less expensive than the Ulta. This I think was $3. The Ulta is $10, although I usually use a coupon, so it makes it around $7. But regardless, this is still a little bit less money. While I don't think it gives me as much of the fluffy brow appearance that the Ulta brow tint does, this is excellent for going over the pomade and giving me a slightly fluffy brow look. I use the brow tint first when I then go in with one of those brow markers that makes the hair-like strokes, but that is pretty time consuming, I'm not gonna lie. So on days where I am in a little bit more of a hurry, or I'm just not feeling like doing that whole brow routine, I will use this pomade, and then I will fluff up the brows with this Essence product. And when I was at the store purchasing this brow product, I decided to also try the Essence Extra Long Lasting Eyeliner Pen. And let me tell you, I was really impressed. Again, it was you, my viewers, that told me that I really should try more Essence products. And I had seen this particular eyeliner raved about by a couple people I follow on TikTok. And this is really, really an excellent eyeliner. The applicator is just the kind that I like. It's not too flimsy where you don't have control if you have less of a steady hand. I like that it is a nice dark black. I haven't had any smudging. It's just overall a fantastic liner, especially for $3. Okay, I'm going to make a very sharp turn right now from showing you these super affordable products to some outrageously expensive ones. But I wanted to put them in this video because, well, number one, I love them. They are favorites. And number two, the viewers of my channel, all of you watching right now, come from different financial situations. You have different household budgets. Some of you absolutely never buy high-end makeup. Others never buy drugstore makeup. Some of you have the means to buy luxury makeup, but feel like it's not worth it. And you are entitled to those opinions 1000%. But my job as a YouTuber and a self-proclaimed makeup junkie is to buy what I can to review for you and give you my thoughts on for anyone who might be considering purchasing these items, no matter what price point they are. That said, when I placed my order for this Tom Ford concealer and one of the new duo blushes, and it came to around $200 with tax, I gotta be honest with you, my finger was shaking as I pressed the submit order button on the Nordstrom website. Because Nordstrom is so good about returns, even when it comes to beauty items, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, well, maybe I won't like these. Maybe they'll be terrible and I'll just return them. However, that was not the case. I am absolutely in love with this concealer. I use the shade Creme, and it is the perfect match for my skin tone. I just use this under the eyes. I don't typically use concealers on the face. So what I look for in a concealer is one that covers my dark circles, that lasts all day, that doesn't get cakey, doesn't settle into my fine lines. It's a tall order. It's pretty much the same things that we are all looking for in a concealer. And not only does this concealer live up to my expectations for such a pricey concealer, a little bit goes a long way. I have been using just a tiny little amount and it blends out just beautifully. My under eyes are brightened. At the end of the day, they still look really, really good, I think. So if this concealer is something you've been considering, but you've been on the fence, because I'm sure it is quite cost prohibitive for a lot of people, my verdict is that it's excellent. And just a couple more things I want to mention about this concealer is that obviously the packaging is beautiful. It's made in Italy. It does contain hyaluronic acid, which I think we all know by now. Really helps to keep the skin hydrated. So I just thought I would mention those positives as well. And now for the Duo blush. I purchased the shade Sundrunk. I ordered online, sight unseen, and this one, based on the online descriptions and some swatches that I had seen on Instagram, I thought this would be the type of shade that was kind of like my go-to. A peachy shade and a pinkier shade. Those are my favorites. So it is what I have on now. I will say that this blush is more on the sheer side, but it can be built up and it really does just melt in with your skin. It looks like the most natural looking flush coming through. And I am a blush girl, so I actually prefer my blushes to be a little bit more pigmented, especially at this price point. But I've discovered using this Sigma brush, which is another favorite. This is the Contour Blush Brush number F53 Air. I have had this sitting in my filming room / office for the longest time, and I never used it. I was just filming a video and I needed a brush quickly. I saw that I had this one sitting there. I grabbed it, I used it, and I immediately thought, whoa, why have I not tried this brush sooner? It is so good. It truly gives me the most pigment from this blush and any other sheer blush that I've tried. So if you're someone who does prefer just a light flush of blush on the cheeks, you will love this and you won't need to use a brush like this. But if you do like a little bit more color like I do, definitely get this brush. And I kind of go into both shades and I dust it on and look how much pigment. Well, I'm trying not to go too heavy-handed so I don't look like a clown on camera, but it's just so, so beautiful. I am on the hunt for an affordable alternative, and I'm going to be looking through my current stash to see if there are any drugstore dupes, at least for this type of color. I'm sure there is. It's just a formula that's going to be different, hence why I would refer to it more as an alternative than a dupe. Now, if this Tom Ford concealer is absolutely out of the question for you, another great concealer I've been using that is not drugstore, but a lot less expensive than the Tom Ford, is this one from One Size. I had been hearing a lot of buzz about this concealer, so I decided to try it. The first shade I purchased was a little bit dark and a little bit yellow for me. I ended up exchanging it for Light 1R, and I love it. It's a very similar formula to the Tom Ford. They're both creamy, however, they're not too thick and creamy where they settle in fine lines. I also get great coverage with this. I also get long wear. So again, if you're willing to splurge on a great concealer, but you don't want to go as high as spending $90 on the Tom Ford, which I completely understand, then check out this one from One Size. Something else on my face that I'm absolutely crazy about is this highlighting duo from Bobbi Brown. Back in, I think it was June or July, I did a sponsorship with Look Fantastic, and I was able to order several things from the website. And this is one of the things that I ordered. At the time, it was not available here in the US. Look Fantastic is located in the UK, and this was only available on the Look Fantastic website. I just looked it up and it is available on the Bobbi Brown website here in the US if you do want to give it a try. Believe it or not, I had never purchased a Bobbi Brown highlighter before. I'd heard good things about them, I just never did. But I am really, really happy with this. This formula gives such a natural looking highlight to my skin. I have texture, I have large pores, I am in my late 40s. I don't want a highlighter that is full of glitter and sparkle. I want something that looks like a lit from within radiant glow. And there's something about this pink shade I really never thought to use. I mean, I've seen pink highlighters used before. I just never thought they would look good on me, but I was wrong. This pink glow is so, so beautiful. And then I do mix it with a little bit of the lighter shade on top. I'm gonna put that here, and I can put it in my tear ducts. Oh, I just love this whole cheek look with the Tom Ford and this. Okay, before I get to what's on my lips, since I do have quite a few fails, I do want to talk about some of those as I go through the rest of this video. And if you saw my full face of Fenty video, you will not be surprised that these next two things were fails. And I'm reaching down to grab my Sephora bag because they're getting returned. The first thing is the Fenty Bomb Posse Mega Mix and Match eyeshadow palette. What a disappointment this was. It looks so pretty, but the quality is just not there. It's not very pigmented, especially the shimmers. I said during the demo that I have shimmers in drugstore palettes that perform far better than this one from Fenty. I don't know where the quality control was here. I heard from a lot of people in the comments of that video that they've seen other YouTubers review this palette and they have not had good luck with it either. So you can definitely pass on this if you've been on the fence. There are so many better eyeshadow palettes out there. Now this next item is the Diamond Bomb Triple Drip All Over Diamond Veil palette. It's a highlighting palette. It looks pretty, but it is a shimmer explosion. Granted, I have not tried any of the other Fenty highlighters. I think from what I've seen in store on the testers is that they're all pretty glittery, and I just don't like a glittery highlighter. As I mentioned earlier, I like a real subtle highlighter. Well, I wouldn't say this is subtle, but it's not glittery or super sparkly. This was a full-on glitter festival, and there wasn't a lot of pigment even on the darker shades. I think someone who's maybe in their early 20s with no texture, small pores, is going out to the clubs for the night, then they might love this. But for me, no, it's going back, as is the eyeshadow palette. And another fail is something I just purchased on a whim when I was at Ulta a couple weeks ago. This is the Cheek Dew from ColourPop. You hear the word Cheek Dew and you think sheer. At least that's what I think. But I didn't think it would have absolutely no color at all. I thought maybe it could be built up, but when I blend this out, if you blend at all, like even just the slightest bit, it's gone. It's literally gone. I could see absolutely nothing on my cheeks. Even when I went over it a second time, it's showing up a little bit better on my hand, but I mean, no. I'm all for cheek tints that just give you a flush of color, but I'm not for a product that does absolutely nothing. At least it didn't for me. And even though it was, I think, under $10, maybe $10 at the most, it's not worth it. I personally would not waste your money on this. All right, moving on to my final beauty favorites and what's currently on my lips. I have a high-end / drugstore combo on my lips right now. I think it was also in my trying hot new makeup video that I used one of these Armani lipsticks. These are their new long wear lipsticks. They are called Lip Power. And in that video, I used the shade 503, which is a beautiful rosy pink. And I just loved the formula so much. I found it to be, just as they claim, very long wearing, even underneath a mask. So I went and purchased 2 more shades. The one I have on right now is 103. It's like a peachy pink. And then I also purchased 104, which is a little bit of a lighter My Lips But Better pink. I would say my favorites are the first two that I showed, 503 and 103. I really like the unique shape of these lipsticks. They did that so that you don't have to use a lip liner if you don't want to, but old habits die hard, and I love using a lip liner with all of my lip products. And I found the perfect affordable lip liner to go with this particular lipstick. This is the shade Tiramisu from Rimmel. And then I top it with this lip plumper from L'Oreal. This is their new Infallible Pro Gloss Plump. And the shade I can't get enough of is this one called Lucid Dreams. Look at the shine on this. And I have to tell you, it really does plump your lips. When you wear it on its own, I definitely notice some plumping. Not a lot. I don't look like I've gotten lip injections, but they definitely look bigger. The shine is, as I just said, phenomenal. It's not sticky. It has a little bit of a minty smell and minty taste to it. I can't get enough of this. I just love it so much. Or why don't I just go ahead and say that I love everything that's on my face right now. And I'm looking in the viewfinder, and I'm also wanting to make sure I don't forget to mention these earrings. They are from Kendra Scott. I saw them on the website. I wasn't sure if I would like them or not. I don't typically wear earrings this large, but they don't look or feel cheap. And I like how they sort of stand out in my hair even when it's down. Sometimes I wear smaller earrings and you can't even tell I'm wearing any because my hair just overwhelms them. But yeah, these earrings are just so pretty. All right, now it's time for the final fails, which are both foundations. This Lawless Conceal the Deal foundation. The first thing I'll say about it, and I said this in the video where I demoed it, the shades are so far off. I ordered Sunlight, which is about 9 shades down in the range, and it was so light on me. I'll admit, I am someone who likes my foundation to be a couple shades darker. Well, not a couple, maybe 1 shade darker, and then I like to blend it down my neck and chest. This, when it went on, a lot of people mentioned in the comments that, yeah, it did ultimately match my neck and chest because I hadn't used a self-tanner, but I just felt very, very washed out. So the color range descriptions really need improvement. But I also just didn't like how it looked after a few hours. I have oily skin, I have large pores, and I do prefer a more medium to full coverage. I was super excited when this came out because it claimed to be a natural looking full coverage foundation, which is pretty hard to come by. But this was not the type of full coverage foundation that I'm looking for. I want my skin to look a little bit more perfected. I want it to stay perfected for at least 6, 7, 8 hours, and this just didn't cut it for me. What's interesting is I went on the Sephora website just to look up the reviews. It had been a couple weeks since I had tried it, and I wanted to see what people were saying now that more people had most likely tried it. And I noticed that it had really, really, really good reviews. And then I started looking more closely at those reviews. And the majority of them were from people who had received the product for free, maybe from Influencer or from some other means in exchange for a review. You know, I've heard a lot of people say over the years that you can't trust YouTubers' reviews. They're only giving a positive review because they want to stay on the company's PR list or something to that effect, or they want to get on the company's PR list. I'm lucky enough to be friendly and communicate with a lot of YouTubers. And I'll tell you that for all of us, our integrity is number one. We're never going to rave about a product, at least the YouTubers I know and myself, I'm never going to rave about a product if I don't think that it is really that good. I have around 270,000 subscribers right now. I am not complaining. Don't read this as a complaint at all. but I'm not on the PR lists of a lot of big companies. I'm not on the Bobbi Brown PR, I'm not on Fenty, I'm not on Too Faced, I'm not on Tarte, I'm not on Anastasia Beverly Hills, I'm not on Natasha Denona, I'm not on Drunk Elephant. Most of the major brands, I'm not on their PR list. And even if I were, I am always going to tell you the truth. So I know this was sort of a long rant, but it really just bothered me when I looked at the reviews for this product and saw that nearly all were done in exchange for free product. Now, there were a couple people in there that did receive it for free and didn't have great things to say about it. And I'm not saying that this is a bad foundation. It just definitely didn't work for me, and I am very, very surprised at all the good reviews. So that's another PR list I will probably never be on. And my final fail, I think, is going to be a little controversial. It is the L'Oreal True Match Nude Hyaluronic, I'm shaking it up because it looks a little strange right now, Hyaluronic Serum Foundation. This went viral on TikTok, and I had such a difficult time finding it. I was only able to get the light medium 3-4, and I definitely need a shade lighter because this oxidized on me so badly. Within an hour, I was orange. My face was entirely orange. I purchased it because, not just because it went viral on TikTok, but because what people were saying is that it was a dupe for the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk, which I love. To me, this is not even close. The Armani Luminous Silk gives me some beautiful medium coverage, a radiance, but it's not so radiant that my oily skin can't take it. I do have to use a oil controlling primer first and a setting powder when I use the Luminous Silk, but this was not good on my oily skin. I didn't think that it gave great coverage. It doesn't claim to be full coverage, but what I was hearing is that it was buildable and that you could get some good coverage from it. I did not have that experience. It was basically off my skin in about 3 hours, which wasn't a bad thing because, as I mentioned, it had oxidized so badly. I know so many people that are just raving about this foundation, especially for mature skin. And I do think that perhaps if you have relatively good skin to start with, maybe you're more normal to dry, or you have dry skin, maybe you, I don't know. I can definitely see this working for some people. It just did not work for me. All right, that concludes September 2021's monthly beauty favorites and fails. As usual, if you did enjoy the video, I appreciate you giving it a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and join the Risa Does Makeup family. I do try to post new content at least 2 to 3 times per week. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok as well under the same username, Risa Does Makeup. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in my next video.